Hi, a Ubiquiti Unify Power over Ethernet switch. And a viewer called Dave sent me this. And what he said was, thanks for taking a look, and I hope this helps you and your viewers. I watch your channel regularly and enjoy all your work. The unit failed one day with no power. I took a look inside and noticed a powder inside, which I think is a cap that has failed. Right, thanks again, Dave. So I think what we'll do is we'll plug it in. We'll use my dim bulb tester, which is just the incandescent bulb wired in series with a socket, and that just limits the load in case it's going to blow up or anything. So we'll plug it in, we'll see what it does, and then we'll take it apart. Right, I'll just go and get that set up. One moment please. And resume. Right, so let's just check that we're getting voltage to the main socket here. I'll just go on volts AC. And yes, we've got about 240 volts there. I'll switch this off a moment. Right, we'll switch it on and we'll see what it does. And the answer is not a lot. Right, I'll switch that back off. Can't see any fuses or anything on the back. So I'll get this tester out of the way and then we'll take this apart and we'll have a look, see if we can figure out what the problem is. So how does this come apart? Well, I can only see two Phillips head screws on the back here, so I'll just grab a screwdriver and we'll remove those. Right, so how do you come apart then? There we go. Almost. It seems to be caught on the PCB. There we go. Right. Right, got a bit of plastic flapping around there. I guess that's off the top of this power supply here. And it looks like we've got a little indicator on the front here, little power indicator. So we'll just unplug that a second, I'll get this lid out of the way. Right, let's just zoom down a bit and let's have a look, see if we can see anything obvious. Well, I can't see any blown components or anything. Well, let's have a look over the power supply, see if we can see anything. I can't see any white powder. Probably a good thing actually. Unless it was just dust. So I can see, unless it was just dust in here. I mean, I can't see any domed capacitors or anything. Right, let's just zoom out a bit and we'll plug it back in and we'll see what voltages we're getting, if any, on the board. And always be careful when you're working on main stuff. Right, so I'll switch this on. We'll go on volts AC. Let's just check we're getting power to here. And we are. Let's move this along a fraction. Get the meter better in shot there. Right, well I can hear a tick. Like the power supply starting to start up and then shutting down. Right, I'm just going to switch it off a second. Let's just unplug this. And is that a power light? That's just faintly coming on there. I'm just going to switch the main light off a second. Let's just see if that's lit up a little bit. Yes, it is. Not very bright though, so this looks like a problem on the power supply. So let's switch this off. And let's see how the power supply comes out. It looks like it's held in with 4 screws here. So I think we'll remove those. And it might be an opportunity to test out my capacitor discharger that someone kindly sent me. And what I'll do, I'll leave some links in the description to his website. But he's actually doing a good job of making this, I thought. Got a couple of nice probes there, and it tells you when the voltage in the capacitor has more than 30 volts, and it lets you know that it's discharging it as well. I thought a nice little bit of kit that, and thank you again for sending me that. I can't remember who it was that sent me it, but I'll put it in the video description. I'm just going to unplug this a moment. And let's just unplug that. So, where's the mains cap on this? That is it here. So we cross those 2 pins here then. And I'm just seeing the discharging light briefly flash. So I guess that's discharged. So we'll just double check it with the meter just to make sure. Just want a volts DC. And about 7 volts in there. I'll just try that again. I mean, 7 volt isn't going to zap you, so it should be fine. So, it looks like to get this power supply apart, we need to remove this heat shield or heat sink here, which looks like it's soldered in here, here, here and here, so 4 points there. But then also it looks like it's bolted on to the transistors and diodes that's in here. So it doesn't look like it's the easiest thing to work on. Right, I'll start unsoldering some things and I'll just zoom down a bit so we can get a better view. So I guess that's going to be the bridge rectifier here. So we've got 4 on a line, that's bolted on there. Looks like we've got some switching transistor there. Possibly another one there and another one here. So I'm going to start by applying some fresh leaded solder onto these points first. Right, we'll do this half first. I'm going to use my little mechanic, or engineer rather, solder sucker that somebody recommended. It's actually quite good, I like it. If you're interested in one, I'll put some links in the video description along with the other tools that I use. Just want to clear this one. Come back to that one. be struggling with them too. They must have a big ground plane or something on the opposite side, I guess. Let's try turning my iron up a little bit. Let's add a bit more fresh solder. It's better. Right, we'll spin this around and we'll do the same on the other side. So it looks like we've got a device here with the 3 legs. And another one just here. Yeah, it's quite good, this little solder sucker, I really like it. Right, let's see if this wants to come out now. Let's zoom back out a little bit. It still feels like there's something got a hold of it. Let's check those legs are free. If that one's still got a little bit of hold on it, that one, I think. Right, it's that side free. Let's have a look at the other side now. That one's moving, that one's not, and that one's not. Right, let's try doing these 2 again. I still think there's a couple on here. There we go. Right, I'll just give this bench a little bit of a clean up and then we'll have a look at that power supply. Right, let's just zoom down a bit then. So that looks like the rectifier diode on the output of the power supply, I guess. Actually, no, that'll be the rectifier diode. I'm not sure what that diode's for then. But what I suspect the problem is going to be is probably capacitors. So I would probably suspect these 2 here. Oh, is that white stuff he's talking about? Hold on. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see if I can zoom down a bit more. I don't know what that capacitor, or that leg of that component there is a bit close to that capacitor, mind, isn't it? That's weird. They've got a bridge rectifier here, but they've cut off the 2 AC input pins there. So I don't know what they're using that for then. Unless this has got some power factor correction, and that's what this is here. A big inductor for power factor correction. Yeah, that probably makes sense, and that's probably why that diode's here to supply voltage to the main capacitor. Yeah, so I think this must be a power factor correction power supply, or a power supply with power factor correction rather. I don't know what that is. I can't see anything else obvious on here. Right, well, I'm going to start by checking some capacitors. So I'm going to start by taking these two out, I think. So they are just here and here. Right, I'll add some fresh leaded solder to those. Let's see if those want to come out. So what have we got? We've got a 50 volt at 47 microfarads. I've got a smaller one here. Which is 50 volt at 22 microfarads. Right, I'll just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to grab my Peak ESR 70 gold. So 42 and it's 47, and the ESR doesn't actually look too bad. Let's just check the other capacitor. I'll clip the wire on properly, there we go. And again, this one's supposed to be 22 microfarads and it's measuring 18, and the ESR doesn't really look that high either. I would have thought it would have been one of those two caps. That main smoother has got a bit of a dome on it. 150 microfarads at 450. Right, let's take that out and we'll check that. Still not quite clear, that one. And I think it's gooed in with some of this goo here. Right, let's see if this will measure this. I'm not sure whether it will or not. I'm not sure what voltage and capacitance this actually goes up to. I was just saying measuring for component there. Right, let's try the test meter. See if the test meter shows anything. Tell you what, I'm just going to try and discharge anything that's in it first. And then we'll go on to capacitance. Pretty much open circuit, that. It doesn't appear to have any capacitance. Let's just try resistance just to see. There's some resistance there, so I was just wondering if one of those contacts had broke away inside but we're getting some resistance there. But it definitely doesn't seem to be acting as a capacitor because it doesn't have any capacitance. Right, so a 450 at 150 microfarads. Right, I'll see if I can get one of those. So I wonder if it's worth checking these other capacitors that are in here. Now I'll have to remove them to measure them because they'll all be wired in parallel. So you can see there, that one is connected to that one. They're both wired in parallel. So if you follow that pin round, from here it goes to the leg on that pin, and this pin here goes to the leg on that one. So they're both linked together. So you can't just measure one of them. So to check them, you really got to take them out. Let's just take one of them out. We'll just check one of them just to see. Now, it would usually be the one closest to the output of the rectifier that would fail first. So that would be this one here. It's unusual, you don't often get mains caps failing. And this is 470 at 63 volts. And it's 400 microfarads, and the ESR actually measures okay as well. So it's a little bit down on the capacity of it, but still fine, I think. Let's just pop that back in. And I think I'm going to have to see if I've got one of these capacitors. Right, back when I've got a capacitor. Well, unfortunately I don't have a capacitor of this size, and it is 35 millimeters across by 20 millimeters high, or possibly 22. So I've ordered a capacitor, so we'll fit it when it arrives. But in the meantime, let's just pull this one apart. We'll just have a look inside of it just to see if we can see where it's actually failed, or whether it's just dried out. It's more curious than anything else. Oh, that vented there when I did that. It went tst. I don't know if you heard that on the mic or not. So I've had some pressure in here. And I'm just expecting layers of aluminium and paper pretty much. It's been a while since I've taken the capacitor apart. Well, that's what they've normally got in. It's probably the electrolytes dried out over time. Right, I'll just zoom down a little bit. Still doesn't want to come out this. Yep, dry as a bone. So you can see the layers of aluminium and paper or whatever just wrapped round and round and round, and then it goes to the centre here, so you should have one contact goes to the outside. Actually look, it's I mean, that might have happened when I've taken it apart. You can see where all of the electrolyte has dried out and crystallised there. So it's actually broke away from the main contact here. So a little bit of a capacitor autopsy on here as well then. Just thought you might find it interesting. Right, so when the new capacitor comes, we'll continue from here. Well, it's been a couple of weeks and the new parts have arrived. I managed to find these ones on AliExpress. And I think they were £2.51 each. I thought I'd get a couple of them, because the trouble I was having was finding a capacitor of the same dimensions. So this is 35mm across by 20mm high. And most of the other capacitors I found were actually too high to fit in the enclosure. And while I was searching for them, this seems to be quite a common problem, because I've seen people where they've had to cut the aluminium heatsink here in half and bend it up to get a bigger capacitor in. So I found these Nichicon ones on AliExpress. So hopefully these should last longer than the STG-Con, which is normally fitted. So let's pop one of these in. Just get out of the packet there. And I've already marked, because I lifted this bit of plastic up just to double check the orientation of it, because we don't want to put it in the wrong way, because that wouldn't be good. So negative goes to this side. I'll tell you what we should do first. We should actually just check what the value readings this one is. I'll just go and get my little tester here. And just couple that up. $130.6, so it is a little bit down from the stated 150 microfarads, but I still think it's within tolerance. I think they can be up to 20% tolerance, so right, let's get this in then. I'll just zoom down a bit and we'll solder that up. Right, now I need to get the heatsink back on. I'll just get a couple of points on this first, just so it's not moving about. I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Actually, I think we might need a bit of solder on that one there. Yeah, that looks good to me. Right, I'll get the rest of it. This little sticky thing here, whether that'll just stick back on there. I'll see if we've got a little bit of glue or something just to stick that back on. I don't know whether it might be better to leave that off actually, just for to get a bit more heat through there. But right, I'll put the lid back on, I think, and hopefully it works. It's only 2 screws if not. Right, I'll just zoom out a bit and I'm going to get my dim bulb tester, just in case anything goes wrong. Right, and I presume that's going to be a power light, so Yeah, so we've got a power light on there now. That's all lit up white. Right, I'll just go and grab a network cable. I'll just plug it in. We'll see if we get any lights on the front as well. One moment, please. Right, I've just plugged a cable in the front there. A little light flashing there. So I presume that's it working. At least it's not dead anymore now, so I don't know if this is a button or just a light or what. But anyway, well, it seems to be working, so I think we'll call this one a fix. Right then, if you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, leave it in the comments section below. And it's always a capacitor. See you later.